So today I will share with you these 10 steps that I followed to get to where I am today that led me on a path of service and a life that I only dreamed about in communist Hungary, where my story started. It was a series of conscious choices that led me here, doing psychedelic assisted therapy, be my own boss, own my own business, and live on the Caribbean beach. So these next 5 steps, I'm going to share with you how to turn your psychedelic practice into a conscious business, whatever is your project, whatever is your next step. It doesn't have to be a training, obviously, but I'm going to just share with through my experience, how did it work out for me. So the first thing for me was to put myself out there and to build an audience, which, as I mentioned earlier, it came naturally in a way because I am passionate about what I'm standing for, what I believe in. I do have a deep desire to share it with people and to help others to live a more fulfilled life and a healthier life and a happier life. So this was something that I naturally did to a certain extent, but that there is a point, when you had to kind of put some more conscious thought into it, and some things that helped me to get more clarity on that was, to think about who am I talking to, what kind of audience I'm looking for, like who is my ideal listener, right? That's something that you can reflect on. Definitely, and be more clear who is your audience, who are the right people for what you're doing that would be a right fit for. Then you have to become more clear what your message is. And this took me for a while because I just have so much to say. So to clarify it into a tagline or something was very, very challenging for me at the beginning. And but I think that in the end it all turned out great. So to get clear what your message is, and so you can explain very short and simple way to anybody what you stand for, what you're into, what you are passionate about, right? So I think these two things just really important to get more clarity. And maybe you need help with that. Maybe you need somebody who will help you to go through a process when you create that clarity. For me, writing is something that comes very easily, and I love writing, and I've been always writing and journaling and writing poetry, and I've written a book. Yeah, check out my book, Heart Medicine, Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy and the Integration Process. And that was not challenging, that was very enjoyable. But when it comes to the podcast and putting myself out there in a video, like for eternity onto the internet, I had a lot of resistance, and I had to work through some things, to start the podcast and to, I don't know, something with the video. I think when you are writing, right, you are more hidden and you don't have that direct contact with the person who receives what you're doing. So yeah, that took me. So it's not everything is easy. Some parts are challenging, and you personally, have to work through some of your stuff to in order to get there. And for me, that was definitely with the podcast, I felt like that. And then to start a room, we have this regular ayahuasca integration room on Clubhouse. We just gonna restart it after summer break, but that's a drop-in audio call, and it's not controlled, that anybody can come in and kind of participate in the conversation, which was also another style of platform and communicating. These are some things that I personally went through, but yeah, just putting some more conscious thought on who are you speaking to and what is that you really want to communicate. That's I think was really helpful for me to clarify. The next step is to get professional support, right? So once your therapy practice becomes like a business, you you need professional support. Even if we're just talking about creating authentic, professional, and attractive content, you need help with that, unless you are some magical, computer wizard or a graphic designer or something. Then most people need help with that. And at the beginning, I certainly thought that, oh, it doesn't matter how attractive a video is, or the lighting, or a filter, or whatever, because what is important is what I'm saying, is the messages, the content is what matters. But I really had to learn that people are not going to look at your content if it's not attractive, if it's not pleasing to the eye and aesthetically and all that kind of things. And I'm still, learning so much about this, but it's not enough to create good content. You need to present it in a certain way to people that is clear, easily digestible, aesthetically pleasing, authentic, looks professional, gives value. I mean, there's so many things, that I never thought about before. So this takes it to a whole other level. But just, just professional support with anything, writing a business plan, or writing a copy, or creating a marketing strategy. These are things that you will need help with if you want to make that next step, and you want to expand what you're doing, right? I really, for a long time, I was doing a lot of things on my own, and I think that was also a process to work through some things around that, and asking for support and relying on other people and all that. But I had to let go of the idea that you have to do it alone, because it's not true, and you cannot do it alone. And the best you can do is to build a team, a good team, and to outsource things, right? And this is very important, because then you will use your energy and focus to what you are the best in. So this was something major for me when my practice turned into a business. And of course, all these things that I'm talking about, it's cost money. So now you have to make financial investment, where before I was just investing my time and energy to write a blog, or to write an article for a platform, or to create a podcast. Now I'm also invested, financially in a big way, because all these things cost money, professional help, and you can learn a lot, through the internet. But even if you learn everything, like, you won't have enough time in the day to do it. So really outsourcing and creating a good team and investing financially into it is very important, I believe. We come to our third step, or the eighth step, if you wish, which is healing our relationship with money. And I believe that, coming from a communist country, definitely had big challenges with that, definitely work in progress, but just made such leaps and bounds, and came so far. But probably many people can relate to that. Most people operate from a lack consciousness and just live in a survival level. And one of the reasons is why it's so hard to get out of this is because you are surrounded with people who have the same lack consciousness, and they are also on a survival level. So you don't have a positive example to follow, most likely, and it's kind of hard to swim against the current as well. So there is a lot of factors that kind of reinforce this poverty consciousness, and this many people just close to that surviving, or just right above. This is because mindset is something we learn. Belief systems are something we learn. And as I mentioned earlier, because the environment is also has this consciousness, that's what we learn. So this is how it gets perpetuated and repeated. And it's definitely takes a big step forward to step out of this. And most people who do, they normally leave the physical environment where they're coming from, and I live in Mexico in the Caribbean now, so it definitely was true for me, but I lived in several countries all around the world. And this was definitely a priority for me for a long time to learn, to cultivate a better relationship with money, a healthy relationship with money, to learn to receive, to deprogram my mind from those beliefs that money is the root of all evil and rich people are bad, and all this kind of stuff that a lot of people probably can relate to. Let me know if you're struggling with this, if you have any of these limiting beliefs, or maybe you managed to overcome that, and if so, then share with us how did you do that. But for me, the main learning is really that money is just an energy, and it's really what you do with it, right? And what is the intention you are using it with, and what you're using it for. And I also learned that I can choose to be financially wealthy if that's what I prefer. And it just really was like a whole overhaul of my mindset, from this perspective. And of course, other areas as well, your money mindset is connected to, but especially with money, I think we all have a lot of wounds that we carry. And if you want to be more financially successful in your work in general, and then especially as a therapist, is definitely something that you need to dedicate yourself to work on this, like preferably have support with this, somebody who can help you, support you, because this is one of the big obstacles and inner limitations, I think, that we have to face. And especially healers and spiritual teachers have a lot of limiting beliefs about that healing should be free, or if it's spiritual, you shouldn't charge for it, and all this kind of things. So there's a lot of cognitive dissonance, and these needs to be looked at, because no matter if you do all the other steps that we talked about, if you just have like unconscious belief that money is the root of all evil, and you really believe that, that's gonna override and it's gonna sabotage you and not allow you to create abundance, to create your conscious business, to grow your business, and to expand in this particular way. So I really encourage you that you dive into that work, or if you're doing that work, like, you continue to do it, because yeah, that's definitely a work in progress. But again, I can say from my example that already as far as I have come is just so much further than I ever imagined that I will be, or it is possible for me. And obviously it's not over yet. So this approach again works for me, and I also keep working on my money mindset. So let me know how is that going for you, and share with us if you have a favorite tip that really worked for you in your life. The next step is having a plan. This is, again, connecting with having professional help, having a business plan. Just because going with the flow again, just winging it's not going to work when you are at this level. Even when people come to my signature program, Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy, we have a personal treatment plan, and it's not something that is written in stone. It's really a framework, a map that we kind of use for the journey. But we have that, we just don't just like, oh, let's see what happens, and we have no idea. That's not how we do it. And I think it applies in every area of your life, with the relationships as well, but definitely your work and your business, if you want to bring it to this level. Initially, for me, it was challenging to get into this business mindset, because I had to bring together my values and ethics with business decisions and interest. And I had a lot of limiting beliefs around how marketing is basically lying and psychological manipulation of people. And I never want to be part of that. And yeah, a lot of things like assumptions and way of seeing things and judging things that prevented me, to really expand. And I had to look at that, and I had to look, how can I align with what is important for me and what I believe in, to what I want to create, and what are the rules of the game, where I want to create it. And this is also work in progress, but I think, I did a great job, because I couldn't do something that I don't feel aligned with. So, for example, even just using social media, I just really believe that everything is just depends on how you use it and what you're using it for. And so I had to let go of the judgments that I have on certain things that are necessary for me to utilize in order to get to where I want to go. So I just want to share with you guys that having a plan, and even if, I change elements of the plan, it just really accelerated my growth and brought me a lot of unseen opportunities. So definitely something that I recommend. I have support with them tonight. Plan is always something that is changing. So don't be afraid to have like a business coach, or some kind of support system, who if you struggle with this step. Okay. And our last step and kind of final step is surround yourself with successful people. And this is, I think, very important. You probably heard that saying, that show me the 5 closest people to you, and I tell you who you are. And I think that this is definitely true to a certain extent, and you surround yourself with like-minded people. It's good every now and then to reflect on that. Who is that 5 person in your life, and what do they represent, and how do they inspire you? And for me personally, this goes back to, again, that savior complex that I had to work on for a good while, pattern that I had for a longer time, that, as I mentioned earlier, that I would pick these very wounded people and try to help them and save them. But I would not notice that I'm not helpful or helping them, but I'm enabling them. It would cross into this enabling, because they didn't want to change. They didn't want to have help or receive my help. And yeah, I ran into this scenario a couple of times in the past. And I think, that I learned from this, that you can only help people who want to be helped. And sometimes you need to let go of people so you can move on. And for those people, there will be other people who will be there for them from that point on. So this is not your responsibility to carry others, because this can take a lot of energy from you, that you are basically wasting, and that you need if you want to move forward and to expand, into a particular direction. Reflect on your life. Who is that 5 closest person? Share with us in the comments, what did you learn from this exercise? And if you would like to change any of those people, or how many would you like to change out of that 5? Is there anybody who you think you are ready to let go, and why? Because this can result into taking your power back in situations when you are really not in service, and you think you are in service, you think you are helping, but you really just enabling others. For me personally, surrounding myself with successful people, it's just really helped me to expand my view of what I thought is possible, and to receive an abundance of inspiration and support. So definitely way more than I expected. And I encourage you to make steps towards that, and to think about what kind of people do you want to be surrounded with, and ask yourself, is that the case? Is that reflects what is happening in your life right now? And let us know where you are on this journey. So let me know what you think about these 10 steps. I hope that this is helpful for you. and helps you on your journey. Let me know if you have any questions through social media. You can send me a voice note with a question that you would like to hear about in the podcast. So let me know what is your interest, and if you are called to this path of service, and especially called to work with the Mother Ayahuasca and support others in their integration process, which is before and after the ceremony or retreat or dieta, then go to my website, avatarhealingarts.com, and check out our Ayahuasca Integration Facilitator training program starting next year, next April. And there is still a couple of days, I think, in the early bird. So check that out and connect with me for a free discovery call if your heart is called to this path of service. So thank you for listening. Leave a comment, please subscribe and share this episode, and sending you lots of love until next time.
Thank you for listening, and leave a comment if you enjoyed this episode. Help us grow our community by sharing this episode with your friends, and subscribe to our channel to receive the latest on Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy. To embark on your healing journey or to start a new career in Psychedelic Assisted Therapy, go to my website, avatarhealingarts.com, and get in touch. And of course, stay tuned for the next episode.